Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the big corporate secrets. But today we're diving into a vote results report. And let's just say not all votes are created equal. So we've got Abundia Global Impact Group, Inc., filing their Form 8. Okay, and this is essentially them reporting on what happened at their recent annual meeting of stockholders held on the 16th of December 2025. Now, typically these filings are all about the nitty-gritty, but for us regular folks, it is about understanding if the company is on the right track and who is steering the ship before we dive in if you want more of these straightforward breakdowns of Corpo. Rate filings, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our growing community over on Discord. The link is in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. Abundia Global Impact Group Inc. had their annual meeting and they're telling us how their shareholders voted on a few key things. So the first big item was the election of their board of directors. 5 directors were up for re-election, and the results are pretty interesting. First up, Edward Gillespie, he got 32,226,327 votes in favour. That is a huge number of shareholders saying yes. He also had 42,967 votes withheld and 952,040 broken non-votes. We'll talk about those broken non-votes in a bit, but for now, Gillespie is in. Then we have Robert Bailey also sailing through with 32,226,398 votes. For him, very similar numbers to Gillespie. Martha Crawford also secured her spot with 32,227,220 votes in favour. This is a strong showing all around for these directors. Now here's where it gets a little different. Matthew Henninger shows 31,115,010 votes for him, but also a much larger number of 1,154,284 votes. Withheld and importantly 952,040 broker non-votes. This is a significant portion of withheld votes and broker non. Votes compared to the others, it suggests less overwhelming support for Henninger. And finally, Peter Longo with 32,226,768 votes for him again. Another strong endorsement. When we look at these numbers, a clean sweep looks likely for most. But Matthew Henninger's vote count shows a noticeable divergence. This doesn't necessarily mean he is in trouble, but it is something to keep an eye on the sheer volume of broker non. Votes across the board is also significant. These are shares held by a broker on behalf of a client, where the client did not provide voting instructions. Next up was Proposal 2. The shareholders were asked to ratify the appointment of CB's CPAs PC as the company's independent auditor for the fiscal year ending the 31st of December 2025. And the shareholders overwhelmingly approved this with 33,143,627 votes in favour. This means the company's shareholders trust Biz CPAs PC to keep a close eye on the financials. It is a pretty standard vote of confidence that is critical for transparency. Now for Proposal 3, this is where it gets interesting. Shareholders were asked to approve the compensation of the company's top executives, also known as named executive officers, on an advisory basis. This is often called a say on pay vote. The votes here were 31,104,374 in favour. That is a lot of support, but then we see 49,538 against and a whopping 1,115,382 abstentions, and yes, of course, the 952,040 broker non. Votes again, the high number of abstentions here is quite telling. It suggests a significant portion of shareholders are either neutral or perhaps not fully comfortable with the executive compensation package. While not an outright rejection, it is a signal that the board and management should pay attention to this. Is an advisory vote, so it is not binding, meaning the company doesn't have to change its compensation plans based on this vote alone, but it is a strong indicator of shareholder sentiment. And finally, we have the signatures section. This is where the company officially signs off on the report. It is signed by Edward Gillespie, the Chief Executive Officer, on the 17th of December 2025, a day after the meeting. This is just the formal stamp of approval that everything reported is accurate from the company's perspective. So what does all this mean for Abundia Global Impact Group Inc.? Well, it seems the board is largely supported by shareholders, with only Matthew Henninger showing a slightly less resounding endorsement. The auditor appointment was a no. Brainer receiving widespread approval. The executive compensation, however, presents a more mixed picture. While the majority voted for it, a significant number of shareholders chose to abstain, indicating some unease or questioning about how the top brass is being paid. It is not a red flag, but it is a yellow one, a signal for the company to perhaps evaluate or at least be more transparent about executive pay going forward. Looking deeper into the numbers, we can see that the total votes cast in person or by proxy were 332213. 3-4 shares. This is a good turnout, a healthy sign that shareholders are engaged. However, when you see the high number of broker non votes, that means a chunk of shares didn't have their voice heard directly through their beneficial owner. It suggests there might be opportunities to improve shareholder engagement and ensure every vote counts. In my opinion, Abundia Global Impact Group Inc. appears to be on a stable path with strong support for its board and auditor. The executive compensation vote is the most interesting takeaway. It shows that shareholders are watching closely and are not afraid to express reservations, even if indirectly through abstentions. This is a sign of a mature shareholder base, and it puts pressure on the company to ensure its compensation practices are both competitive and justifiable. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these voting results, especially the say on pay and executive compensation? Does it raise any red flags for you? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more insider looks into corporate FI. Links, don't forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description for more exclusive content and discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.